Welcome back.
Oh snap, Denali upsetting the balance today.
It's Pikachu!
Thank you for that. Is it Pikachu?
Welcome back.
Oh, his dad got me. It'll be quicker than that. Yeah, this is a little different than what we're used to on the playlist, right? But I actually very much enjoy this. My tastes are all over the place, right? Feed is muted here. Quite a bit to talk about since we didn't talk about anything on Monday. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. I think most everything is functional. Happy Wednesday, guys. It's the middle of the week. How are you all doing? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you've all had a good beginning of the week so far. But I see a bunch of other creators I respect doing this with their communities. They do what they call a midweek check-in, and they ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your week going? So let's do that here. Scale of 1 to 10, how are we feeling, chat? Middle of the week, 10 being the best week ever. I'm probably sitting at like a 7 right now, kind of mid.
Welcome back.
You know, 9.8 of Denali. That's speaks highly. 7, 6, 6, 7. I think that's out. I'm so glad that that has died. I think it's done. I think it's cooked. Oh man. But yeah, it's a very Wednesday. Yeah, I feel that, dude. I feel that. That's in about a 7, personally. Didn't even think of that. Oh, it's dead. I don't hear it anymore. Even in like the little groups that we do for my kids, like sports stuff. It doesn't seem to come up. So I'm just like, all right then. Okay, I don't know if TikTok is actually working or not. It's looking kind of funny. Like it's loading, but it's not actually connecting. So I don't know. Actually, I got a new pedal, so 9.5. Have you used it yet? Have you get to play with it? I was wondering how it sounded. Yeah, TikTok's not cooperating today. All right, well, we're just not gonna do it. We're just not gonna worry about it. End. We'll try again another day, but I quit. I'm not fighting the machine today. We'll just not worry about it. All right. Makes all the wub sounds. Nice. Love it. Love to see it. All right. Well, let's jump in to quite a few topics today. We've got Sony upsetting people. That's like our main topic. Making some seemingly off the wall decisions that don't make sense, but we'll get into it. Let's start with changing the soundtrack. As much as I like the Animal Crossing and Chill KK and Friends tracks, I need something less distracting. This one's got such a groove to it. Like, that's wrong. Like, I don't know if the bass comes through on the stream. I just love this track. Man, I could like just I can't leave it on in the background while I'm working. It's too distracting. I'm just gonna tell you guys now. Alright, we're gonna start with Pokopia. Pokemon Pokopia comes out tomorrow. Looking like a really good... Hey! Thanks for dropping that thumbs up emoji over on the YouTube stream. That's right. Exclamation point partner. Push. If you guys could help by going to the YouTube stream, the full screen stream, clicking the like button and dropping a thumbs up emoji in the comments to let me know that you did so, would be super duper helpful. Don't leave the platform you're on, wherever you're watching from. Stay there, enjoy it there. Just open up another tab, open up an app, pull up a second device and just pull up the stream there and let it run. Engage in two places if you are so inclined. But all right, let's jump into it. All right, Pokemon Pokopia comes out tomorrow. We've got very good, very highly, favorable Metacritic scores. It's looking good. I guess we'll get the user feedback starting tomorrow. But I'm very much looking forward to this game. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow on release day. I gotta see if I can even get it, because there's no GameStop in my town anymore. We're gonna have to probably go to Walmart. Hey Brent, good morning, good to see you. But I think I'll try, but I don't know for sure just yet. I want to. I remain hopeful that our local Walmart will have it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to go get a physical copy of this game at some point. I may have to order it, so it might be a little bit. But I do want to play it. I don't know if it's going to be a stream game for me. It may be an offline chill game and then eventually turn into a stream game once I finish up some other stuff. In our nighttime playthroughs, let's plays that we're doing. But anyway, so yeah, it's looking good. Good on them. Koei Tecmo has been a good partner for Nintendo across their IPs, and this looks to deliver on that just as well. Pokemon Crossing, basically it's Animal Crossing, Pokemon, and a little bit of Minecraft survival kind of stuff all thrown together. Stardew Valley, yeah. There you go. I like that one. Stardew Valley. All right, well, in news that should shock exactly 0 people, I'm not celebrating this, I'm just saying it's not surprising. Highguard officially going offline March 12th. That is next week for everybody keeping count. Unfortunately, they couldn't keep the player count up. I wonder if I could find the actual Highguard. There was like an actual statement. They revealed, my gosh, some of these ads. I figured it would be like in the top. Anyhow. Alright, well, it's going offline next week. Here it is. Here's the thread. There's a final update coming. I thought I had this pulled up, but I did not. Harvest Lunala. Nice. I'm so incredibly not shocked. That's a no success. No stake in the success or failure of this game. I'm not either. Like, I don't have any ill will towards the game or the team that made it. I just don't think they made a good game. But what does my opinion matter? Right? Like, I'm just out here talking about it. But today we're sharing difficult news. We've made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March 12th. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world. You shared feedback, created content, and many believed in what we were building. For that, we're deeply grateful. I think if many believed in what you were building, the player counts would have retained. And I'm not one to sit there and ride the Steam charts and look at numbers like all the time. But if the game was that, 2 million people tried it and you couldn't keep a tenth of that, a fifth of that in your actively playing day-to-day kind of situation, I argue if people really believed in what you were building. There might have been some. Despite the passion and hard work of our team, we've not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term, and that's very true. Servers remain online until March 12th. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show you your support and get those final great matches in while we still can. The team is excited to release one final game update to enjoy in the remaining life of the game. We'll be adding a new warden, a new weapon, account level progression, and skill trees. Full patch notes are coming, and we're targeting tonight or tomorrow morning for patch release. From all of us at Wildlife, thanks for playing, for supporting us, and for being a part of Highguard's story. Aspen Gold dropping the oof. Alright, anyway, I'm not here to dunk on anybody's failures. I am of the firm mindset that had the game been a little more focused and not as broad, it would have done a lot better. But also, the hero shooter live service market is so oversaturated. Like this is a hard market to break into. It is, especially right now, where people are kind of locked into the games that they're locked into. As far as this type of game goes, you're not really pulling people away from Overwatch or Apex or Fortnite. That's a very difficult task, and you could have the coolest idea in the world. I don't think it's gonna happen. Jeez, I know we're closing in 8 days, but here's another update in character, right? Let's see if they publish a server app. Oh man, I just wonder what the devs are gonna do. Like, I really hope that they learn from this experience and learn to embrace critical, constructive feedback, even if it's like kind of mean sounding. Take it to heart that a lot of people were saying the same things about this game, and it wasn't that people were dunking on it just to hate on it. There were legitimate criticisms that needed to be addressed, and I don't know if that was ever in the plans, right? Like, I don't know if that was ever going to happen, but it is a bummer to see, and I really hope that they learn and can make something better, wherever they end up, that their skills are actually used. Hey, Supersonic, good to see you. How are you doing this morning? All right, Genki shared this. This is from Jason Schreier. I don't know why I said his name with such disdain. I think because this is usually like behind a paywall, and so we can read it. Can we read it? All right, we can read it. All right, let's talk about this. Well, Genki shared the key points. So Sony, this is our big title, by the way. Big story. Title story. What words? Sony no longer plans to release its big PS5 games on PC, according to Bloomberg. PlayStation returning to console exclusivity. Single-player titles such as Ghost of Yotei and Saros will remain exclusive to PS5. Other games such as Marathon and Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls will be released on multiple platforms. And let's look at that. Let's look at the article, because I didn't know it wasn't behind a paywall on Bloomberg. Oh, excuse me. The takeaways by Bloomberg AI. Sony Group Corp no longer plans to release its big PlayStation 5 games on PC, returning to console exclusivity after 6 years of multi-platform releases. So Sony Group no longer plans to release its big PS5 games on PC, major shift in strategy that sees the video game maker returning to console exclusivity after 6 years of flirting with multi-platform releases, according to people familiar with the company's plans. They didn't flirt. They straight up released games multi-platform by putting stuff on PC and Xbox. Some of it required, some of it they took a risk, and it worked out. Online games such as Marathon and Marvel Tokon will still be released across multiple platforms, but single-player titles such as last year's samurai hit Ghost of Yotei and the upcoming action game SAROS will remain exclusive to PS5, said the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to talk about the company's strategy. Well, you probably shouldn't be leaking information. Just saying. Supersonic, yes, very excited for Winds and Waves. We can talk about that after we go through the articles, for sure. The people cautioned that things could change in the future due to the unpredictable nature of the video game industry, and that Sony's plans are constantly shifting. But in recent weeks, PlayStation scrapped plans to bring Ghost of Yotei and other internally developed games to PC. 2 games made by external developers but published by PlayStation, Death Stranding 2 and the upcoming Kena Scars of Cosmora, are still planned for PC release on PC this year. PlayStation spokesperson declined to comment. There are likely a few reasons behind this shift. One is that several recent PlayStation games have not sold well on PC. A faction within PlayStation has also expressed concern that releasing their games on PC risks damaging the console's brand and will hurt sales of the PlayStation 5 and its successors, according to the people familiar with Sony's inner workings. For decades, I really wish this bar would chill out and quit moving. For decades, Sony's tactic for selling PlayStations was to keep tentpole franchises exclusive to its own consoles. In 2020, it pivoted and began bringing games to personal computers via Steam. Since then, the company has put most of its big franchises on PC, such as God of War and The Last of Us, which I thought did fairly well. Maybe God of War not so much, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the sales numbers. I don't know if there's a public for... I guess the Steam charts would tell us. But strategy has been muddled and confused many players. Most PC releases arrived months or years after the games came to PlayStation. The cadence was never consistent, and the announcements appeared to be haphazard. The company also upset PC players by asking them to create PlayStation Network accounts to access many of the games. Well, see, that's kind of skewed as well. They did, but after a game came out, and that was the issue, was that it was required after they had been playing the game. But if they had signed in or tried to, there were people in regions where there's no PlayStation Network at all, so they couldn't have made an account in their region, meaning they lost access to their game. Many Xbox games on Steam and PlayStation let you log into your Xbox account. So, like, you can connect your cross-platform accounts. Nobody complains about that because it's very upfront about how you're connecting you need the account to play the game. The issue was that the PSN account requirement came in the middle of a game's release. A game had been out 2 months, and then suddenly Helldivers was like, hey, you have to have this PSN account or you can't play your game anymore. And that's what people were upset about. It wasn't that they had to have a PlayStation Network account. If you're in a supported region, that's easy to do. If you're not, then yeah, you're left out, and that's kind of messed up if you've already bought the game. So that's a little skewed, but okay. Now Sony's looking to take a more straightforward approach, going back to console exclusives. I mean, it's simple. If those games aren't selling on PC, right, you're not getting the extra numbers you were hoping for. Yeah, it would make sense to cut them, to cull on the PC releases. Sony's 2 rivals in the console space have taken different paths. Nintendo Corp has released almost all of its games solely on its own Switch hardware, while Microsoft Corp has turned into a multi-platform publisher, releasing everything on PC and many games on PlayStation. Another factor behind Sony's pivot may be Microsoft's next Xbox, which is rumored to use Windows and be capable of playing PC games. Some executives at PlayStation may not be thrilled at the prospect of one of the company's flagship games like God of War running on the next Xbox console. I think that might be more of the reasoning behind it. You know, until we get like some official statements from Sony, I don't know. They're never going to admit that they don't want God of War showing up on an Xbox. But right now, you can play Spider-Man on a ROG Ally, the Xbox version. So, you know, there's not much they can do. I mean, by having your game run on PC, you're already kind of supporting Microsoft. You know, you're giving Microsoft another reason to keep like supporting the PC platform because people are using the OS to do things. So I don't know that Sony can get away from that. It's interesting. It's an interesting idea, interesting thought. I think really the biggest things are probably they're not satisfied with the PlayStation sales on PC, and they're losing 30% for every sale on Steam, right? They keep 70, which is great. That's extra money that they weren't making before not having the game on PC. But now, you know, maybe they look at, and I said this on the roundtable, maybe they look at just releasing their own client that we've seen rumored for a few years now, and their own store, and then the cross-buy thing comes in for PlayStation. We saw the graphics and stuff for that. There could be a total shift away from all of that entirely. You know, they could be, maybe they were gonna do it and now it's just like, look, it's really not happening, it's not worth it, the numbers aren't there, people aren't buying games like they were, new games aren't selling as fast because everybody that buys games is buying like less games per year, more because everything else is expensive and it's easier to wait on a sale, especially these single player games. You could buy them at launch for $70, or you can wait 6 months, 9 months, and they'll be $30. You know, why not wait? You know, save a few bucks, buy more games, even if they're not like the latest and greatest, you can still enjoy them. You know, I think the difference between like that and the way Nintendo does it, Nintendo rarely discounts their game. You know, any of their franchises, you rarely see the cost come down below, you know, maybe 25% on a good sale. Finally got Detroit Become Human on Steam 8 years late. That it's still like, that's still money that studio made, even if it's a little bit. How much of a cut do indie games lose sacrifice when they release on Steam? 30%, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo or others. So it depends, right? Like, it depends. I know Steam has a thing about you have to make so much in sales. I think it's like $1 million in sales, $1 million in sales alone before they impose their 30% cut. And I think before that, it's either you keep more of it. It's like a 90-10 split. Hey, Will, thanks for the word clerk. App stores like mobile do the 30%, 70-30 split. PlayStation, Xbox both do a 70-30 split. Steam does it depending, and I have no idea what Nintendo does. I would assume they take a sizable cut as well. But that's what I think is driving some of this decision making is, you know, licensing Spider-Man isn't cheap, right? So by releasing on PC, the hope was to get a ton of sales. Now, I don't even know how to look this up, but I'm very curious. Insomniac Spider-Man PC sales. I mean, Spider-Man Remastered on PC sold over 1.5 million copies, generating more than 52 million in revenue April 2023. Now, it continues to sell? I don't know. But then you take a look at Spider-Man 2. Let's see. There, I want to compare them. I'm very curious what that looks like. 70-30 is quite a bit. Does include indie coming to platform. There's also a fee to add. There might be a developer fee to access like tools and dev kits. I know with Apple, you have to have a developer account, and that has an annual cost of like $100 associated with it. Now, that may be nothing if your game sells really well, but if you are building something yourself, yeah, that gets expensive. Let's see. Okay, so Spider-Man on PC sold 1.5 million copies. Spider-Man 2 on PC reports 700,000 to 750,000. So it didn't even break a million. And I think that's the difference. You know, if this like flagship series, if a flagship series like Spider-Man can't break a million easy on PC, if it can't even outpace the PlayStation sales, right? Because on PS5, Spider-Man 2 had 11 million, achieved 11 million sales, 11 million units, sorry, in 6 months. But it didn't even come close to that on PC. So the PC like view of PlayStation games is cooling off. A lot of that's probably the PSN account requirement. I think some of it, you know, may just be superhero fatigue. You know, Spider-Man 2, it felt like it took a while to come out. Maybe that's part of it. You know, like I don't know for sure. Right? I don't know. Maybe we could get some good feedback from somebody who knows a lot more than we do and has inside information on what those sales numbers actually look like from the PlayStation perspective. But it'd be really interesting to see. I would think if the PC sales are cooling off for newer releases, why bother porting it if it's not going to even offset the development costs for porting it and the loss in revenue, you know, from being on Steam, that 30%, right? Silk Song hit way past 1 million. How would that work if you need a reference? 30 Steam if selling right now, 75.25. Well, yeah, let's see. We can look it up. We can look that up too. There's a whole thing. Let's see. Steam sales split. I think is what it is. So Steam typically takes 30% of game revenue, but the split's based on volume. 30% for earnings up to 10 million, 25% for 10 million to 50 million, and 20% for sales over $50 million. So I guess there's that. I don't know how that works. Steam revenue calculator. I don't even know. I mean, if they don't make that, if you get a less cut, the more you sell. I thought it was the other way around, but I think Steam makes exceptions for indie studios, but you have to like prove you're an indie studio. I don't know this. I don't know this without. I guess I need to be fact checked on that. But I thought they had implemented a licensing deal that was like, we're not going to take the 30% up front if you don't even hit the million in sales or whatever. That could have changed. That might be old news. But anyway. So yeah, there's a lot to say about that. But I think two things are happening. Microsoft moving to make the Xbox more of a PC, obviously. And then I think just the PC reception of PlayStation games has cooled off. They take so long to come out. You know, if you look at how day and date releases work across platforms, you know, Final Fantasy 16, if it hadn't been a PlayStation exclusive, might have sold a lot better for Square Enix because the hype was all at that initial release. And then if you look at, you know, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, you know, the PC release was a lot quieter, and then the Switch 2 and the Xbox release was really hyped up because it was hitting two platforms at the same time, and those extra sales for Remake did really well. And Square is just my most recent example because they've committed to multi-platform day and date releases and not locking things behind exclusive contracts. Now, I'm sure if somebody showed up with a big enough bag, they'd be willing to talk, but I don't know that Sony is going to be able to offer a bag big enough to offset the lackluster sales for FF7 Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16 almost back to back, right? And I think other companies are taking note of that. In fact, I think I can find the article. Capcom is committed to like PC first. Let's see. That. Let's see. I don't even know. All these are old articles. I had read somewhere this morning. Let's see. Steam typically takes 30% cut of all gross revenue for games sold on its platform, regardless whether they're from indie developers or large publishers. Okay, so everybody takes that 30% cut. Alright, so yeah, we read that the revenue is tiered. PlayStation, Xbox, Switch are always the same. Probably, I'm sure they have some kind of incentive to take less of a cut if your game makes enough money. You know, I don't see why they wouldn't, but I don't know. But this is coming as at a time where exclusivity is really front and center, and is it going to make or break the hardware or the platform? Are people behind it? Do they like it? I think a lot of people are kind of over the idea of a console exclusive unless you play on PlayStation, and then you see kind of your platform supports the platform you purchased supports itself by putting games that are only available on it. Nintendo does the same thing, but Nintendo is kind of an island unto itself. They literally will make decisions that make no sense in the industry and nobody cares. People still support Nintendo, like people still support Disney, right? So to say, like, to compare it directly to Nintendo, I don't know that PlayStation has that kind of weight in the industry. So I guess they'll see, you know, because what we're looking at is most of the games we're talking about came out 6 months to a year after they launched on PlayStation. That delayed release could still work, but I think day and date is how you get more people on board. You know, you gotta capture the hype at one time and not spread it out, because most people saw Spider-Man 2 come out on PlayStation. They're like, all right, we'll wait for it to hit on PC. And then by the time it hits PC, they're like, oh, well, I'm already playing other stuff. I don't have time for this game. There you go. You've already lost people who don't want to play the game. It's not that they didn't want to play the game. They just might wait until a Steam sale much later. I really think Sony's going to come out with their own store on PC at some point. I think that would still make sense for them financially. So they don't have to pull completely away from the PC market, but they can definitely control more of how the PC market behaves. And I think that is going to lend to them being able to make more rules about PC ports. They can do day and date, but they could also require a DualSense controller to work for their PC app. And you can't use an Xbox controller or a Switch controller. You know, they'll allow mouse and keyboard, but they really prefer a DualSense. And, you know, it dims the brakes. Or they could require, all the PlayStation Network accounts in the world to log in. You know, because that's their platform. They can set the rules. Whereas with Steam, it's a little bit of a open range situation. You know, any type of input has to work with Steam. A lot of rules around it. You know, there's just, it's not theirs to control. And I think that's going to come back on it. Is what can they control and make the most money on? And really making the most money is the point, right? It's not enough to make plenty of money. They have to make the most money. Let's see, to do the math, 10 million times 30% equals 3 million for Steam. The next 40 million, you sacrifice 10 million or 25% before you get an 80-20 split. Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the big news right now, is in a time where everybody's kind of viewing exclusives differently. Sony's walking back their support of PC, which is fine. It's, we'll see how it works. I'm interested to see how it's going to work. All right, let's move on. I don't want to get political, but I thought with Tencent being in the news like this, it could be interesting. The Trump administration debates getting Chinese Tencent money out of US gaming over feared security risks. Where would that leave wholly owned studio Riot Games? So this is on Eurogamer from Robert Purchase. Thank you, Robert, for the article. Donald Trump's administration is apparently debating whether to let Tencent, a Chinese tech company, keep its investments in video game companies based in the US, such as Fortnite maker Epic Games and League of Legends maker Riot Games. The Financial Times heard from several people familiar with the internal deliberations that meetings have been and are being held to determine whether Tencent's investments pose a security risk. These meetings are being held ahead of Donald Trump visiting China in April. Tencent has its fingers in a lot of pies. In the US, Tencent fully owns League of Legends and Valorant maker Riot Games, and it holds a significant 28% stake in Epic Games, the maker of Unreal Engine and Fortnite. Outside of the US, Tencent has notable investments in studios such as Baldur's Gate 3 maker Larian, Souls series maker From Software, and PUBG maker Krafton. Tencent has invested in Discord and was recently revealed as the secret funder behind doomed multiplayer shooter Highguard. Trump's administration is also reportedly discussing the security risk posed by Clash of Clans, which, despite being made in Finland by Tencent company Supercell, has a large enough audience in the US to be of concern. Should the Trump administration attempt to boot Tencent out of US gaming, the ramifications could be huge. It would be quite the shakeup. It is worth noting that concern surrounding Tencent doesn't originate from Trump's administration. Joe Biden's administration was also investigating Tencent. Apparently, particularly with regards to the Chinese military, these platforms could serve as a significant intelligence collection source, said a former Biden official who worked in this area, Chris McGuire, to the Financial Times. So, yeah, I've kind of been wondering if the government was going to take notice of Tencent's reach, right? We know who's going on Clash of Clans. Well, it's just the fact. Okay, so Tencent owns a lot of different pieces of companies. They are directly involved in an uncomfortable percentage of the gaming industry, and a lot of it stems from the thoughts that it's the same as with TikTok. They needed ByteDance to divest because ByteDance was a wholly owned Chinese company at some point. I don't think it was by the time. I think a lot of things changed hands by the time the orders came down for ByteDance to sell off to Oracle and whoever else owns TikTok now. But I think the thoughts are the same. Tencent reports to the Chinese government because by law they have to report to the Chinese government what they're doing in different things, and I don't know all the details of that. I just know what I've read and what I've seen online, and a lot of it is exaggerations and probably isn't to be trusted. However, I think a lot of the concerns are, what data is Tencent collecting from United States citizens playing games, having software on their phone, having software on their consoles? What are they collecting, and how much control does the US citizen have over where that data ends up? Because if somebody outside of the States is capturing my data and it leaks or something happens, I have no real legal recourse as a US citizen over what a Chinese company does with my information, right? I agreed to the terms of service when I played the game, but what am I gonna do? When privacy used to be the biggest issue, yeah, I kind of miss it. It's not about the games that Tencent has too much control influence. Red flag or looking into possible concern. Well, it's that they have so much influence in so many different areas of the gaming space that there is a security concern. What I would guess it comes down to user data tracking and what are they collecting on users, and is there a way for us to know honestly what Tencent is doing? What requirements do they have? It's a whole mess. But the fact that they're finally looking at it is interesting. Now, if they were to drive Tencent out, then what does that mean for like Riot and Epic and some of these smaller studios that Tencent props up? Like it is, it's a valid question. I just don't know that the ramifications are going to be good for anybody. So I guess we'll see. We don't know a whole lot yet. We'll see how this unfolds and what information comes to light. But yeah, I'm kind of the mindset that my own government spies on me. I don't really want other governments spying on me too, but I don't have a whole lot of control over that. I'd like to know for sure, but I don't. And there's no way. Like the infrastructure is too complicated for us to really know it at a meaningful level, right? Anyway, we'll see what happens. A concerning level or suspicious level? I think a little of both. Your government also spies on me now, dude. I have thoughts on that, but I don't think anyone would like my opinion on either side. Activision shuts down popular Call of Duty leaker, rubs salt in the wound by saying they weren't always right anyway. Even when leaks are wrong, they still hurt the people building the game and mess with player expectations. So the Ghost of Hope will only comment on official COD info now. I thought this was interesting. A prominent leaker for the Call of Duty franchise has been shut down by Activision. To add insult to industry, the publisher took one last chance to quash the legitimacy of the information they provided. On March 4th, Ghost of Hope, a Call of Duty reporter who claimed to have insider info related to the FPS series, posted about legal ramifications preventing their work from continuing. Activision has legally demanded that I stop leaking and disseminating confidential information related to Call of Duty / Activision. They write on Twitter, I'm complying with their demands. Ghost of Hope will continue to cover the games in some capacity, but only based on official news, rather than providing or commenting on current leaks and rumors. Their bio now denotes them as retired. In response, Call of Duty related YouTuber T-Dog tweeted out wondering if this means the Ghost of Hope was right about everything. Not quite the case, apparently. Nah, responds the official Call of Duty Twitter account. Even when leaks are wrong, they still hurt the people building the game and mess with player expectations. Alright, fair enough. Interesting. I guess you just ask to stop leaking stuff and maybe they'll stop. Time will tell. Yeah, incorrect leaks can misinform a lot of people. I was gonna say, I took a sip of coffee, I was catching up on chat. But yes, I don't. The reason I don't like leaks, and I'm very hesitant to report on even very credible leaks, is that when the information is wrong, the gaming community takes it out on the developers and publishers of the game. And when it's right, it ruins the surprise and anticipation of the game. So either way, a leak doesn't end up being good overall, except in that very short news cycle attention span where you get that information, you stir up the hype cycle for a day or two, and then it fades out because it's not official. There's no more news coming. The developer doesn't have any more to say. The leaker doesn't have any more information to feed. He's looking for the next hit on the algorithm. And it's very self-serving when we start talking about leaks and rumors. And like I said, every time one comes across that I want to talk about, I'm like, let's weigh it. Let's see. Now some I will talk about. Sometimes I'll talk about it because it's like, hey, it's looking more like that's the thing that's happening, or it's just too big to ignore. We might as well bring it up, right? However, it does ruin some of the surprise. Like Pokemon Winds and Waves would have probably been a bigger surprise had I not known that that was the title going forward, thanks to the Terra leak, you know, and all the all the information that came out of that leak, right? It helps keep the game in mind. It didn't help Highguard. First I've heard COD this year. It's not in a good spot. Black Ops 7 was a huge disappointment, both financially and content-wise. Duty. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go on. We have a few more to talk about. Okay, I thought this was interesting. Fan-made community survey which asks you to vote on what titles you'd like to see backwards compatible on Xbox, on the current Xbox platform, with a surprising number of games being voted on from the original Xbox console. So I checked it out. We'll talk about the article. If you haven't seen it yet, an aspiring fan project recently launched is XboxGamePreservation.com to track what players actually want from Xbox's backward compatibility program. Now the first batch of data comes in via LinkedIn, some interesting patterns are starting to emerge. It's a LinkedIn article. Android OG Xbox emulator released from beta yesterday. That's really cool. Surprisingly, the results suggest fans may want more original Xbox titles than the golden child Xbox 360. Now, while this is a fan project and nothing official, and the data is likely is not representative of the entire Xbox player base, it still offers an interesting glimpse into what fans say they want from Xbox's backwards compatibility efforts, if it ever returns. At the time of writing, the site has seen just over 3,300 visitors, so which games are people actually voting for? Let's break it down, and I guess this is the data that's published so far. But we got 52% for the original Xbox, 48% for the 360, which I don't like that these are flip-flop. That's kind of weird. But seeing more people want OG Xbox games is wild. The top publishers voted on Activision, Electronic Arts, and then the rest are down there. The top genres are shooter, which was most of the original Xbox and the 360 for a while. And then the original Xbox coverage, 92% were not already backwards compatible. And same with 360, except it was 73%. So like most of the things being voted on are not backwards compatible. With the top game on original Xbox being voted on right now is Simpsons Hit and Run, which would be good. And then Silent Hill 4, The Room, and Silent Hill 2 taking second and third place, which is weird. A ton of Activision games are on this list as well. A bunch of the Spider-Man games that Activision published. I'm not going to Google Fire Red emulator. Used any of the 100 results. Paid $20 for a 30-year-old 2MB game. Didn't vote for this because it wanted Google account data. I did, and I wasn't worried about it. It's not gonna. What are they gonna get from my Google account? I was kind of hoping to look at the leaderboard right now, check out the site itself. Hey, it seems kind of cool. I want to check out the LinkedIn article as well. Let's see. So we've got, I don't know if you guys can see this. Here we go. Simpsons Hit and Run, Silent Hill 4 The Room, Silent Hill 2, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, Burnout 3 Takedown, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man 2 based on the film, Sonic Heroes Jet Set Radio Future, those should definitely be backwards compatible, Spider-Man Edge of Time, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Director's Cut, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, wild, Transformers War for Cybertron, yeah, that one should actually be backwards compatible, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers, which that was one of the games made in the Tiger Woods PGA Tour engine. The Simpsons game, Blur was pretty fun. The Simpsons Road Rage, Ultimate Spider-Man, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and Alpha Protocol to round out the top 20. a solid list. 4 minutes to get all these running with HD mods. You could. But the less work I have to do to enjoy a game, the more likely I am to go and play it and enjoy it. All right, so we looked at LinkedIn. This guy shares his data pretty openly. That's the data we covered. Okay, that's neat. All right, let's move on. All right, so this is interesting. This is kind of blowing up. But new Xbox. Now Xbox has also patented help sessions that play your game for you when you're stuck. Unlike Sony's Ghost Player patent, Microsoft's patents involve getting a human or AI to take over. Following recent reports that Sony's patented tech that lets players hand the controls over to an AI helper, Microsoft has now patented something similar. The company was recently granted a group of patents which refer to video game help sessions and let players have someone take over the controls when they're stuck. According to one patent, spotted by Tech for Gamers, the patent suggests a scenario where a player is stuck in a particular section of the game and may need help. The patent describes a situation where the system can use machine learning to detect that the player is having problems and displays a pop-up message asking if they need help. If the player requests help, the game could theoretically create a save state from that point and start a help session, where the player's controls are taken over by a helper, which could be another human or AI. In the patent's example, the player is struggling to find a hidden gem. A pop-up appears asking, would you like to accept help to find the gem? If so, click yes to save your game here. When a helper is found, another pop-up says Lucky 7's available to take over your game. Transfer control to Lucky 7. Oh god, no. That sounds awful. If the player accepts, the helper then takes over and will be able to talk to the player as they control the game for them. Revocation Radio, thank you so much for that raid. Thanks for coming in. We're talking about Microsoft's use or patent of an AI helper. Microsoft adding Copilot everywhere except school teams and Excel. But welcome in, Raiders. My name's Chrono. We're just talking about the game news for Wednesday of this week. Quite a bit to talk about. But Revocation, welcome in. What brings you by? Thanks for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. I hope you all are having a fantastic morning. I know we're having fun here talking about Microsoft patenting an AI helper service. The big thing with this patent, though, I don't really want to read through the whole article. The big thing with this patent is this was filed last year and was recently granted. So people are saying that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, is like getting to work right away and leveraging AI, but like this is already in the works. This is on the plans, and we're going to see a lot of that over the next few months. Excuse me. Sorry. Well, we're going to see a lot of this over the next few months, where plans that were already on the books for Microsoft and Xbox are going to come to light, because that's how companies work. They work, years in advance. And we're going to see these things related to AI and maybe Gen AI and other stuff. And people are going to blame Asha Sharma and say, oh, well, she's doing all such stuff really quick after she said she didn't want to use AI except where it makes sense to. And it's like, hey, they didn't code this up yesterday. They didn't file this patent yesterday. This patent was filed for in 2024 and was approved now. So, before you get upset or call people out or, post angry, dumb messages on social media about stuff that you don't fully understand, just take a step back and realize, hey, the patent process is a really long thing. And, I'm not defending Microsoft. I don't want this. I don't want AI helpers being prompted at me when I'm sucking at a game. I just want to fail upward, do bad until I succeed. But anyway, let's move on. All right, we got 3 new titles hitting the NSO service this week. We got Mario's Tennis and Mario Clash. Did the Virtual Boy have a link cable so you could play like 2-player? I don't even know what Mario Clash is. It looks like the OG Mario Bros. This is surprising. Because didn't they remake this whole game? Like, wasn't this a whole remake on the Switch? Available March 10th on Mario Day. So there we go. That was that. I thought that was worth taking a look at. I still need to figure out if I'm getting a Virtual Boy helmet headset situation or not. You could say some Windows updates were coded in a day. You could. But Microsoft's a huge corporation. Nothing happens quickly there. You would think, but nothing happens. Everything goes through like approvals and stuff. All right. This is a new crossover event for Apex Legends. I was very surprised to see.
Back, but it's still a pea shoot in 2020. You want real firepower? Make it a Rampage. You want it accurate? You put it in Rampart's hands. Guidey, you even listening to what? Whoa! Now that's some bloody firepower. I got a little free time. Either of you plonkers fancy a suit?
I've not seen that. With the fact that Gundam is doing an Apex crossover is insane. The Overwatch one was super cool. I wish I had bought some of those skins. Oh, look at this. And it's a bunch of different Gundam series being represented here, not just Wing. Oh, it looks so cool. Is it enough to make me play Apex Legends again, though? Because their shop is way more shopified than like Overwatch or even Fortnite to some degree. That looked awesome. That looks so cool. Sometimes I wish I still played Apex. All right, and okay, our last story.
The gamer is saying that they played Crimson Desert for 6 hours. They still don't know what it is. That's right.
Hey, there we go. I don't like that the autoplay was like, hey, this will play. And it's like, okay, but autoplay should be off. It did it anyway. Okay, so I saw this article circulating. Dexerto posts streamer manager Reed Ducksher voice support for view botting, saying creators are at a disadvantage without it. Quote, the reality is if you're not view botting and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. And here's the thing. No. Okay, I'm gonna just squash this right here. For advocating for viewbotting. Viewbotting is dishonest at best, and you might see success from it, but it's a lie. And lying and dishonesty of any sort have really no place in my content or my channel. So I figured just to let you guys know, anybody watching my videos, I don't viewbot. I don't do any of the metrics hacking. So I don't have people come and like my streams on YouTube. I don't have bots on any platform. I would feel like a total clown doing that. Like, that's a lie. I'm not big. Lying is one of the worst things you could do. But yeah, I just have there's no place on my channels in my content for this kind of thing. If you're doing it, I would strongly ask you to reconsider what you're doing with your life, because if everyone's view botting, right? Then that explains why streamers getting content deals is so difficult these days. Because, hey, if your traffic isn't real, then who are we advertising to? Right? So I just wanted to address that here. Not that I have a massive audience, but if this clip ever surfaces, over time, I've always been against this, and I will always be against it. I'm not opening up anything on my channels to view botting. I had trouble with guys sending followers to my channels, like bot followers, and finally found a solution to it because it was bugging the heck out of me. Yes, that is the point of view botting, Grow Squid. Number go up. That's the only point. None of the big names that I know of used view botting as big as they are. If you are committing fraud and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. Right. No, you're just not committing fraud. And I really would hope that Twitch actually starts cracking down on this crap, because this is not how you build a community. It's not how you build authenticity. It's very obvious when people are botting. And I'll tell you this, Twitch may be in the spotlight for it, but some other platforms are just as bad, if not worse, about view bots. I've seen a lot, and I'm streaming on Rumble right now. I've seen a lot of people on Rumble with thousands of viewers on their live streams. No one is chatting. No one is clicking like. It's just a big 4-digit number while they're live. That something's up with that. That's weird. People know how to chat. People know how to engage with a stream. People can leave a comment. So I'm just saying, like, I'm not doing any of that. I don't have the patience. I don't have the any desire for that. I don't have the conscience to, like, deal with that kind of thing. The pressure that I would put myself under hoping I don't get caught would be obvious. Right? Like I would feel like an absolute fraud. And yeah, that's what I gotta say. Like, I would not feel like anything I get out of streaming, any growth, any deals, partnerships, any income, I don't feel it would be worth it. I feel it would be just all fraud, and I would personally feel terrible. Shortcut to get partners, you can get more money. Theory is that you go up in the channel list and get real viewers. The reality is, if you're entertaining people, you will get viewers and momentum. So I think that's the reality of it, is if you're genuine and you're doing a good job, then good for you. Everybody's growth is going to be different. Everybody's audience is going to be different. I'm not trying to get the audience that some other, like, streamers who are 10 and 20 times the size I am. I'm not trying to get their audience. I'm trying to build my own community and my own audience and people who come here for my content. And I'm not trying to be like everybody else. I don't care what everybody else is doing. Not in that, if you're obviously Denali, Will, you guys are streamers and content creators. I care about what y'all are doing, as a friend, but I don't care. Like, I don't view you guys as competition because our goals aren't the same. And even if they were, we're doing our own thing. Make a business out of it, invest in real marketing, not fake viewers. No, indeed. If you're paying to get money, might as well just directly gamble. Squid, I can agree with that. You might as well just play the lottery or go bet on horse races or something. But this really, like, struck a nerve with me reading this morning, because it's basically like, it's like the scummy talent manager or acting manager in, like, Hollywood that's got, like, the cigar, and he's like, kid, if you ain't lying around here, you're just gonna put yourself behind. It's like, what? No, I'm not. I don't believe that for a second. I don't know, guys. That's where I'm gonna leave. That's it for the game news today. I appreciate you guys checking out the stream. Anybody that came in on Revocation's raid, thanks. Revocation Radio, I see you dropped a follow. I appreciate that. Very, very grateful for that. I'm gonna replay that one. Yeah, there we go. Now I see it. Appreciate it. I hope you've all enjoyed your time on the stream this morning. Supersonic was asking about my thoughts on Pokemon Winds and Waves, and we did do the initial reaction to it, but having sat on it for almost a week now, I'm still very excited for it. I think there's a lot to look forward to that we don't know about yet. You know, there's a lot that Pokemon Company has to announce regarding this game, but I think my favorite thing is it's not coming out until 2027. So it's not going to be rushed to match the card game or the anime or any of it. They're just adjusting the whole schedule probably for the game. And if they do that, then I think they've got a great opportunity to change our minds about Pokemon very quickly, I might add. So I'm very excited about it. I like the starters. I'm going to pick the water starter, as I usually do. But anyway, I do have to go get started on work. Let's find somebody to raid. If you're watching on YouTube, it will redirect you to Reforge Gaming's channel. He may be live on a different stream. So, I don't know. He does like multiple streams a day, and he will stop and start a stream and stuff. So, y'all go check him out. But we'll probably raid him right now as well, depending on who's also live. We raided GCG last night. We raided... Yeah, okay, yeah, Reforged. Lano's talking about Crimson Desert. So y'all go tell him hey. And Chronos sent y'all. And I will see y'all tomorrow night, probably. We'll see. Love ya. Thankful for ya. Y'all have a great day. I'm not competing for your viewers. Yeah. Dude, it's not a competition. It's, we're all swinging upward. All right, y'all have a great day. See ya.
Interesting in the discussion about Marathon and Arc Raiders, how dishonest everybody's being about Arc Raiders. It's remarkable. It's for dads, it's casual, it's dying, it's losing its players, it launched around nobody. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? Yo, thank you, Chrono, for the raid. If you guys are watching over there on Purple, I'm going to give Chrono a shout out. Give him a follow. He's on the podcast with me every Friday over there. The gaming roundtable. Sorry, I think everyone's straight. The gaming roundtable. It's a podcast every Friday with Ginger, Prime, and Chrono, and they rotate some other people on there as well. And I should be on there this week again. I believe so. There are people calling Art Game of the Year. Stupid AI Chad Kroger. That's right. That's right. AI Chad Kroger is calling Art Game of the Year. And I'm like, I don't think we are. You know? I mean, Chrono's a little teddy bear. He's got that teddy bear vibe going. So maybe he is. Maybe he's all about snuggling with the homies. But I don't know. I think Ginger and I, as far as I know, I mean, we're married men with children. Like, it's, we don't really have any room for those types of relationships in our life. The gay man roundtable, that's right. There's nothing gay about snuggling with the homies. I don't think you could say there's nothing. I don't think you could say there's nothing gay about it. It's a little gay, and it could quickly turn into a lot gay. So you know what I'm saying? I don't think you can say nothing. It's not completely devoid of it. Come on, bro. I said what I said. It's fine. You're gonna have a little George Costanza at moved moment, and that's okay. But come on now. I got news for you. That means you're gay. That's right. Oh my golly. Brooklyn says, MF, what are you talking about? He put it in chat, not me. I didn't put that in chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if you go camping and it's a little cold out and you're just trying to stay warm, it's still in that context. It would be a little bit. It would be a teeny tiny bit. You know, it would. You know, it's okay though. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. You know, just because it moved doesn't mean you're gay. It just means you have healthy blood flow. Shut up. What is this topic? Crimson Desert gameplay and why it's not on console, and why you shouldn't come out to your parents at Thanksgiving. So, you know, we got a lot going on. Got a lot of topics rotating in and out. Pause. You know? What the frick is this? I'm waiting for a response from Mr. Will Powers. I said concerning Crimson Desert console gameplay, it has been claimed that Digital Foundry will have console gameplay to show, quote, at launch. Is this before release date with the review embargo? Concerning Crimson Desert console
we
gameplay,
are waiting
it has
on a
been
response
claimed
there.
that Digital Foundry will have console gameplay to show, quote, at launch. Is this before release date with the review embargo? We are waiting on a response there. We might not get one. We might not get one. I'm not too sure. We'll see. We'll see if he's active today on socials. He does seem to be very good to reply to people, so that's why I decided to ask him. I'm watching with the volume off now. Well, that's also gay. So, B. Carter with the Prime. Thank you so much. We're at 253. I appreciate that so much. You know, that means you're just watching to look at me. So, thanks so much. Congratulations. You're gay. Got him. Totally got him. I just logicked him there. Who is this person? Share chat. Share hype train. I don't know who this person is that wants to Desert Early Access. Corroborate? No, collaborate. Before release. I can't even talk. Streaming I don't know together. Who you are. Crimson Desert Early Access. Before release. Streaming together. I'm not sure who you are, so I'm going to have to decline. Broken Earth gifts a member over there on YouTube. Oh, he might be doing it. He's setting it up. There it is. He's setting up the 20 bomb dunker. Listen, if you're going to do it, do it. And we're at 255. We're officially 20. Oh, wait. We will see. You guys will also be at 50. My Prime on purple go through. I got a B. Carter Prime. I got a... I don't see. I got Neo Reaper. I got Jack. I don't see you over there, brother. When are you and Colin going to have a collab? Crimson Desert review codes are officially in the wild. 2 weeks. There we go. I don't know. I'm going to have to probably make things right with Maddie Plays if I'm ever going to do anything with Colin. So I'm waiting on that. There's a potential door opening there. I did a podcast that I'm kind of waiting for them. $256. Thank you so much, Eldest One. Muffin the Bunny says, I'm a gamer. I mean, with that avatar and that name, I don't think you needed to tell us. I think we knew. You know what I'm saying? I think we know. You cool with Jaffe? It doesn't have anything to do with Jaffe. I mean, Jaffe could certainly get me a warm handshake, but, you know,